This is New York, and Pat Shurmur came from a place in Minnesota where even when things were going well, you weren't going to get criticized like this. So, yeah, I'd be a little raw too, but let's be frank. He's going to save any of the smug that comes out for David Gettleman. That's the press conference I wanted to see today for a guy that has every step of the way throughout this Giants offseason told us, you need to trust me on this. I know more than what you guys know on the outside looking in. And he does. He absolutely sees more on that inside, but that doesn't mean we have to take every decision at face value because, quite frankly, everything we've been told ends up pretty much going opposite. So that's the press conference I'm looking for, and that's where I expect the smug.
But you can't have it today. I'm not even sure you can have it at the end of the year. You can't have that press conference until like 5 years from now. We're not gonna know for years whether this was the right pick, Mike.
I mean, listen, we can say that, but after year one with Sam Darnold on the other side of town in New York with the Jets, we were already having the conversation around, well, you're seeing early returns of the idea that the Giants made a mistake taking Saquon Barkley at number 2 overall, whether he goes on to a Hall of Fame career or not.
That. I firmly believe that, and I think the Giants are going to rue the day that they did not take Sam Darnold. That's my opinion, but I'm not going to hang on the rim and say I was right based on Sam's performance last year. I mean, it takes a long time to establish that you were the right pick. When you take somebody 6th overall, you're talking about perennial Pro Bowl. You're talking about franchise quarterback. You're talking about conversation for the Hall of Fame before you could start hanging on the rim. Not 5 for 5 in a preseason game against the Jets' second defense.
Don, the way the world goes right now, though, especially in the NFL, I think you kind of have to know a lot sooner than that. When we're talking about what a financial burden is, when you have to make the decision whether or not you're going to extend these guys later on, you have to know to an extent. When you're talking about the jobs, not only for the head coaches, but in a lot of cases now, the GMs that get turned over a lot quicker if you don't see the early returns that at least indicate you're right. We won't be able to know if he's a Hall of Famer. We won't be able to know if he even wins a Super Bowl probably by the time these decisions get made. But you got to show something, and I feel like that's something of saying, all right, at the very least, we have one of the 16 best, the top half best quarterbacks in the NFL, justifies taking a dude at 6.
And then there are narcissist divas, and that is what Antonio Brown is.
Antonio Brown just wants to make a big deal about himself on Hard Knocks.
The Pittsburgh Steelers look genius because this guy is certifiable. He's going to bypass $30 million guaranteed because of a helmet. We're talking about legitimate crazy pills.
At the end of the day, you trying to fight this fight is like trying to use Instagram on a flip phone.
So much drama in the LBC, it's kind of hard being Snoop.
The Stephen A. Smith Show on ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Guests on the Stephen A. Smith Show appear via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line.
Come on, y'all. This is Stephen A. Smith Show. Kick that music, please. I need that beat. Snoop Dogg in the house. Welcome back to Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio, ESPN News. By the way, the Stephen A. Smith Show is being brought to you by Barbasol. Hey, sports fans, Barbasol is offering you a chance to score big when you join the Barbasol Shave Club. Grab your premium starter kit for just $1.99 today and code SHAVE at Barbasol.com. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. This is my issue. You know, and let me transition. Why do you think Jerry Jones is hesitant to pay Ezekiel Elliott? He's a 2-time lead in Russia 2 of the last 3 years. 322 carries last year. 304 carries last year. 322 carries his rookie year. Why do you think Jerry Jones is hesitant to pay him? Yes, he's negotiating with Dak. Yes. Yes, he doesn't like being pressed against the wall the way that Ezekiel Elliott is trying to press him against the wall. All of that is true. But you know what the biggest reason is, ladies and gentlemen? The biggest reason is that Jerry Jones is hesitant to pay him because he knows how he's living. Suspended 6 games. Had to get called up to the commissioner's office just again. I have to be able to trust you. Do you find it a tad bit odd, ladies and gentlemen, that even though Ezekiel Elliott can't get Jerry Jones and them to offer him the contract he covets, that reportedly Dak Prescott just turned down $30 million a year? Now, we don't know the particulars. We don't know how much guaranteed money that is. We don't know. We don't know that. But here's the reality. Even though we don't know how much guaranteed dollars it is, the fact of the matter is they're talking to Dak Prescott about $30 million per. Why are they doing that? You know why they're doing that, ladies and gentlemen? They're doing that because Dak Prescott hasn't missed a game. He's played in all 48 games of his career. 3 years in the league, started every game, all 48. He's healthy. He's a class citizen. He's a leader. He's dependable. He's reliable, which means he's trustworthy. That's what this is about. To everybody out here in this world, and this is the part that really, really gets to me. And again, I'm going to wear my blackness on my sleeve. But I'm talking about us calling one another out the way it's appropriate to do so because it's necessary. This is not a white thing. Not a racism thing. You got to know how to act. You can't get your money and then think you get to do what you want to do while you got your hands out for somebody else's money. You can't do that. You got to capitulate in some capacity. You got to show that you're worthy. And by the way, by worthiness, it doesn't just involve your on-court or on-field performance. If you're cancerous, if you're unreliable, if you're untrustworthy, if you're undependable, you don't get to get paid like that. When you demand money, there's two things that you got to bring to the table: value and trust. My value is determined by my performance. My trust is about your ability to rely on me to continue to show up and do my job. Never in my wildest dreams did I believe that a day would come where I'm looking at Antonio Brown and questioning whether or not he's reliable. I can't believe it. This is some inexcusable stuff. Ezekiel Elliott ain't no surprise there. Now, getting back to Dak Prescott. My brother. Don't know the particulars. Don't know the guaranteed dollars. We know that Carson Wentz is guaranteed over $107 million. We know Russell Wilson is guaranteed over $107 million. We got that. Big Ben Roethlisberger got some guarantee, making $34 million this year. We got all of that. Shoot. Kirk Cousins, 28, guaranteed every penny. And we constantly lament the state of affairs with the NFL and its Players Association because we talk about player contracts are not guaranteed. And then we look at somebody like a Tom Brady and seeing how he's getting treated by New England to such a degree. And you know what I realize? It ain't about the Players Association. It's about the players. If Kirk Cousins could get $84 million in guaranteed money, what the hell are y'all doing settling for less? What the hell has he done to earn $84 million in guarantees? But he got it. Which means if people are getting less, because they're settling for less. And that's on them. But Dak Prescott, I can understand why the Dallas Cowboys may be a bit reticent to make sure his money matches Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz is asked to do more. It's not a matter of Carson Wentz being better, even though when healthy, he has looked better than Dak Prescott in terms of his ability to throw the football. But Carson Wentz is not healthy all the time, which means that you can't rely on him to be there because he hasn't played in one playoff game for the Philadelphia Eagles over the last 2 years, including 2 years ago when they went on their Super Bowl run. That's why Nick Foles is starting quarterback in Jacksonville. Because the reality of the situation is very, very simple. Carson Wentz was asked to do more. Alshon Jeffries, Nelson Aguilar, Zach Ertz last season. Now you got Deshaun Jackson. He ain't think about running the football that much, even though they got Jordan Howard from Chicago. But let me tell you something. When you look at the Dallas Cowboys, everything has been predicated on Ezekiel Elliott, which is the justification for the Dallas Cowboys to try and shortchange Dak Prescott. I don't know if they should or would get away with it, but it's justification. So it's going to be very, very interesting. We shall see. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. To the phones we go. Brandon, you're live with Stephen A. Talk to me.
Yo, what's up, Stephen A?
What's up?
Now, Antonio Brown is he's really bugging me out because we already know he's a great player. He probably tracks the ball with the best of them in the history of the game, and the numbers he puts up is on a Jerry Rice status.
Okay.
That's not questionable at all. But some of the things that he's starting to do is stuff that we didn't even see T.O. do, and T.O. got hammered. A lot of the stuff that T.O. was complaining about and stuff like that, for the most part, had to do with stuff that was on the field pertaining to football. It wasn't big personality clashes, with the exception of Donovan McNabb. But for the most part, it's just T.O. It was straight ball. Everything Antonio Brown is doing is he's not going to get in on the first ballot the way they do Hall of Fame, the way they do the votes.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like he's really damaging himself. Antonio
Brown is damaging himself, without question. Without question. And stop lying. You know good and damn well you ain't walking away from $30 million. Stop lying. Stop lying. Just making a ruckus of nothing. Listen, helmets are important. I know that. But they're saying, listen, safety of the game matters. They ain't trying to, dole out billion-dollar lawsuits and all of this stuff and deal with all of that because they didn't do everything they can to elevate the safety of his players. They're not trying to deal with that. And he's a part of that. Now you're talking about leaving. Come on, man. I ain't got time. I really, really don't. I really, really don't. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. Back with more of the Stephen A. Smith Show on ESPN Radio in a minute.
Antonio Brown just wants to make a big deal about himself on Hard Knocks and make this a bunch of drama.
The Pittsburgh Steelers look genius because this guy is certified.